Greetings brothers and sisters, freedom fighters, we are anonymous. We are asking for everyone to please come together and join us in this continual fight against government corruption, and take part in this operation called Anonymous Petition. This petition is to remove the United States Supreme Court justices from the bench for violation of their oath of office in the organic Constitution for the United States of America, Article 6, which states, the senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members in the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. In the article of the case, the United States versus Castleman on March 28, 2014, Justice Sonia Sotomayor dismantles the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights has been revoked. While you were focused on the missing airliner, there was a little case being heard in front of the Supreme Court called the United States versus Castleman. The case was a landmark win for the gun control left wing, but what no one realized is that our Constitution no longer affords us rights. No longer rights that are inviolate. The case was decided March 28, 2014. The United States Supreme Court unanimously ruled that the Bill of Rights is no longer made up of declaratory and restrictive clauses. They are judicially now perceived as privileges. A privilege can be revoked for the slightest of legislative causes, but a right is forever inviolate. We the people no longer have that. The United States versus Castleman, the case was about domestic violence, a cause we can all get behind. But, in the end, the Supreme Court has taken away not just domestic violence abusers' right to bear arms, but all of the people, and in turn has made all of the Bill of Rights void, and made it a bill of privileges that can be revoked. The above article mentions this decision converts the God-given rights of every American citizen into privileges, which can be taken away at any time. The Bill of Rights is being obliterated in this decision. Join us to combat the atrocities of the Justice of the United States Supreme Court for this treasonous act against the supreme laws of the land. Take back your rights. Did you know the United States Supreme Court justices have lost their legal jurisdiction to hear cases? Supreme Court justices have lost legal jurisdiction to hear cases. Dated March 10, 2011, the United States Supreme Court issued orders in docket number 10-632, 10-633, and 10-690, in which the justices refused to honor their oath to defend the Constitution. The justices have lost legal jurisdiction to hear cases. Washington, D.C., the United States Supreme Court issued orders in docket number 10-632, 10-633, and 10-690, in which the justices refused to honor their oath to defend the Constitution. Each justice took oaths, required to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. But in the 6th, 7th, and 8th petitions presented to the Supreme Court, in the last 3 months asking the court to declare that federal judges do not have the right to ignore the Constitution, the court refused again. This time, the justices were put on notice that they did not have authority under the Constitution to refuse to address constitutional violations. The petitions were filed by William M. Windsor. I considered their refusal to defend the Constitution to be a clear violation of their oath. Now that they have refused to honor their oaths in a specific petition addressing the illegal acts of the Supreme Court justices, the justices now lack any authority to rule on matters. The Constitution grants their only authority, and they refuse to honor it. I have called on Congress to impeach all of the justices. Windsor charges the justices of the Supreme Court with felonies. 18 U.S.C. 4 states that, whoever, having knowledge of the actual commission of a felony cognizable by a court of the United States, conceals and does not as soon as possible make known the same to some judge or other person, in civil or military authority under the United States, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years, or both. Windsor's petition presented the justices with an extensive list of criminal violations, and these have not been reported as required by federal law. Windsor stated, "Everyone in America needs to know that our federal judiciary is corrupt. Our rights have been stolen. We must insist that Congress conduct public hearings into the corruption in the federal judiciary. If Congress does not do so, we need to replace Congress." After reading this, do you still question yourself about signing this petition? Are you ready to become enslaved again? Join us in our fight for justice because it's the right thing to do. The Bill of Rights has been revoked. The United States Supreme Court issued a landmark decision that serves to allow judges to void the Constitution in their courtrooms. The decision was issued on January 18, 2011, and the court did not even explain the decision. Docket number 10, 632, 10, 633, and 10, 690. One-word decisions, denied. Presented with this information and massive proof that was not contested in any manner by the accused judges, at least 6 of the justices voted to deny the petitions. There is no legal or factual basis whatsoever for the decisions of the lower courts in this matter. These rulings were issued for corrupt reasons. Many of the judges in the Northern District of Georgia and the 11th Circuit are corrupt and violate laws and rules, as they have done in this case. The Supreme Court must recognize this petition as one of the most serious matters ever presented to this court. The key questions answered negatively by the United States Supreme Court was, whether federal courts must be stopped from operating corruptly and ignoring all laws, rules, and facts. By denying the petitions, SCOTUS has chosen to sanction corruption by federal judges and to allow federal judges to void sections of the Constitution at will. William M. Windsor has been involved in legal action in the federal courts in Atlanta since 2006. Windsor was named a defendant in a civil lawsuit, 1-06, CB, 0714, ODE, in which Christopher Glynn of Maid of the Mist in Niagara Falls, swore under oath that Windsor did a variety of things including the crimes of theft and bribery. Windsor stated under oath that Christopher Glynn made it up and lied about absolutely everything that he swore. Windsor then obtained deposition testimony from Glynn and the other managers of the Maid of the Mist boat ride, and they admitted, under oath, that charges against Windsor were not true. Despite this undeniable proof, 32-year federal judge Orinda D. Evans declared that the grandfather of 3 should not have fought the lawsuit, and she forced him to pay a fortune in legal fees of Maid of the Mist. Windsor appealed to the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, but federal judges Dubina, Hull, and Fay, rubber-stamped Judge Evans' ruling. Windsor then took his appeal to the United States Supreme Court, where the justices said the appeal was not worthy of their consideration. After attempting to get the case reopened with new evidence that proved fraud upon the courts and obstruction of justice, Judge Evans and Judge William S. Duffy committed a variety of crimes and violations of constitutional rights, as did judges with the 11th Circuit. All of this was detailed for the Supreme Court. Windsor says, "I have discovered that the federal judges in Atlanta, Georgia, Washington, D.C., and the justices of the United States Supreme Court, function like common criminals, intentionally making bogus rulings against honest people while covering up the crimes of their fellow judges. I have been contacted by people from all over the country and around the world with their stories of judicial corruption with judges all over the United States. My charges have been totally ignored by the United States Attorney's Office, the FBI, and Congress. I do not believe there is a shred of decency, honesty, or constitutional rights in our federal courts. In my opinion, we now live in a police state. Judges are free to do absolutely anything they want. Our laws are meaningless. Your life savings can be stolen by a federal judge, and they have no risk in violating every law in the books. In my opinion, this is the most serious issue that our country has ever faced. Our rights have been stolen. And the mainstream media refuses to cover this story because they are afraid of the judges. I believe our only hope in America is if the masses become aware of what is taking place. We must continue with all diligence in our efforts to raise public awareness. Please view the link in the description of this video, and sign the petition, to remove the United States Supreme Court justices from the bench, for violation of their oath of office. We are anonymous. We do not forgive the lies within this corrupt government. We do not forget all of the evils that they wish to bring upon us and our families. One for all for one, together we stand. They should have expected us.